Hello Libra, thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Tarot Grand Lux by Cyril Marchetti. Website for Cyril is usgamesinc.com. Supportive Oracle cards, Magical Spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. Illustrated by Jesse Reish. It's a Hay House product, so if you look up Hay House, or I think Lucy, because I think she has a bit of stuff going on. So, if you're interested, feel free. Libra. Okay. You have good cards, but there's a lot of mystery with it, so I'm interested to see how this is going. What is all this, like, what is going on here? Good things. Now, the challenge card is the Knight of Pentacles. Somebody is watching you very closely. I'm going to even say that some people who are watching you are literally keeping tangible notes, like literal notes. You're probably not the only person they do that with, in case that seems weird. If somebody's watching you, but I feel like they're also keeping literal notes. The thing is, I think they do this with a few different people. What you say today, they're gonna like write it down. I don't know. It feels like somebody is really very to the letter. This is what it is. This is what you said. If you don't know what you're saying, why do you say anything at all? It's one of those things. You know what I mean? They're holding you to the letter of what you say. Very critical energy. Very, very, very critical. Which is ironic that this is going to work for you. Because I feel like this is very like, ooh, this feels very tight. This feels very confined. The thing is, I think this is why. Libra, once you understand the rules of the game, you can work with that. You just got to know what you're dealing with. It could be a bit stressful, granted. It does feel like it's a bit stressful. But I don't feel like it's like stressful in the sense of like, oh my goodness. It's stressful kind of like, all right, I know what I say tomorrow, 3 months from now, they will reiterate it word for word. Whatever I say today, they're going to stick with it right to the letter. But since I know that, I can work with it. Libra, no, yeah, you'll take it into account, kind of like, okay, all right, that's how they work, then that's how it is. What do I need to do with it? How do I want to treat this? There's a lot of grace here. You're very accommodating to this energy. And you win them over. This is an energy, I feel like what you like about it is like, I know where it's going to be. I know where it's going to be. I know how it's going to handle things. You know exactly what this energy is going to do, how it's going to go forward. It's very predictable. Kind of like they say they're going to be there tomorrow at Tuesday at 3:15. Well, you can bet your socks they're going to be there. They're going to be there, and they're not going to be happy if things aren't going to be as they expect. Not only are they going to be there, but they expect things to work out as they were previously planned. So you're like, all right, I know they will be there, and they will be expecting things. I know that. Dependable is like the name of the game. There's also a very strong emotional. If things don't go their way, they get very, very. They get very pissed off. Very. Things like it's one thing to like say, well, this is how it's going to go. Even if they don't like the way it's going to go, they're going to plan for it. If things don't come off as planned, they get very cranky, even if they didn't like it to begin with. So it's kind of like saying we're going to have a dinner next Tuesday at 4 o'clock or whatever, and it's going to be, say it's going to be liver and onions, and they're like, and they hate liver and onions, but they've literally planned for it. If that doesn't happen, ironically, even though they don't like it, they're going to be very upset because they're like, no, I planned the day around this. I did this, I did that. I got myself ready for it. I was all in that mindset that that's what I was going to do. And now it's not there. They're like, and you're like, well, it's a hamburger and you really like hamburgers. I don't care. This is what was supposed to happen. This did not happen. And bent right out of shape. And it's kind of like, and I feel like you know this. It's like, even though they didn't want that dinner, they didn't want liver and onions, they don't even like it, because they planned for it, because they expected it, if it doesn't come off that way, they will still be upset. Even if you get them something better, they're not going to be happy with you. They're going to be like, this is not how this was supposed to go. I planned the day around this. And you're like, you planned your day around liver and onions? Okay. It's definitely that type of energy, though. I think, haven't we all come across people like that every now and then? It's just like, it doesn't even matter if they like it or not. If you tell them that's how it's going to work out, if it doesn't work out like you said, they get all bent out of shape. Even if they didn't like the outcome and you give them a better one, it's nope, not happy. Nope, that's not what you said. Nope, this didn't work right. Makes them very upset. They get really upset about it. This is the energy you're dealing with. There's a lot of stress. Stress and vulnerability I'm getting. This is how this person copes with life. You tell me what it is, and that's what happens. The more you're dependable, the more you keep it to the way you said it, the easier this energy is to deal with. That's how they cope with stress. If it's the way you said it was, and I can plan for it, whether I like it or not, that doesn't seem to matter. I need to know what's going to happen, and the more I can trust you that you tell me what's going to happen and it stays that way, the happier I am. That's why you have success with this. You'll have the ability to change things going forward. This energy is more compatible if you don't change things. You're going to do what you have to do. You're going to make your decisions like you need to make your decisions. Success is here. Realizing that like what you say is going to happen, you make sure when it comes to this person, for them, it doesn't change. It's very I'm getting this whole liver and onions analogy again, like but because I'm like, what happens if you like give an extra option to where they get the option to choose? That might work. So maybe that's the thing. Next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, liver and onions, here it is. But there's a second option of hamburger if you want it. Liver and onions is definitely here. It's just we also had the option for this, so I just included it. You do what you want. You can still do according to your plan. You can stick according to your plan. But you leave them the option. Like if you want to eat that liver and onions, it's definitely there. I said it was going to be there, and it is there. So let's remember that. It is there. There's just a second option as well. That may work. It's very touch and go. That's the moon card. That is literally the moon card popping up. Might work to your favor. Maybe. You're all dealing with different people, so there's no like. I don't think there's any right answer, if that makes sense. Could go well for some of you. It will not. I don't know. You're gonna have to feel it out. I feel like things like that. You probably, like for example, if we're gonna do a dinner thing, dinner happens, and then you either eat or you don't, and then you move on to the next meal later. It's just not worth. You don't build your whole life around one meal. At least I don't. But even if it's a wedding, like you don't build your life around one meal. It's like it's a meal, but then it's gone. Even though it's a very important event, you don't build your life around one meal. It's just, you know what I'm saying? So if you want to test it, like things like that, that's when you test it to see how it goes. I feel like they're saying you want to test this. Choose things like that analogy. Test this. It's going to go bad once in a while. Yeah, you want to test this because you got to figure out the mystery. But you also got to see, like, try to figure out, like, how dependable is the information you're getting it. Does it depend on the day how they handle those possibilities, or is it depending on the subject? Test it. You got to test the situation. They're saying, right, they're just kind of putting it out there. The sooner you start testing it, the better it'll be. Because you got success here, and you got the Ten of Pentacles. And I feel like we want to learn, and we want to let this person know, oh yeah, I'm just, there's only certain things I try this with, and because there was a better option, I just wanted to give you the option. If you test it now, it works better. Because it does seem like you have the option to keep things the same for a long time for this person, but there will be a moment where you have to, like, be like, well, it was gonna be liver and onions, but it fell through, and I was able to get lasagna, so it's lasagna, and there's no option. So you want to know how they're going to react before you get to that point where it's like, oh, it was going to be that, but I had to change it. You want to know how the reactions happen. You want to discover that ahead of time. There's a lot of energy, a lot of passion with this person, a lot of, like, it reminds me of somebody in my life where when they're shocked, even if it's a good shock, even if it's a positive thing, they have a negative reaction initially. And I think this is that type of person. Even if it's a good thing, the shock makes them react negatively at first because they don't like shocks. I feel like, there's people in the world, maybe more than not, who don't really like surprises, even if they're good, and they just have a really, reaction to it. This might be one of those people. Yeah, test it now. Slowly test it now, so you can, because when I get the Page of Pentacles, I'm like, where's this going for you with the Aphrodite's love spell? Test it now. It's a little stressful, but the information you gather from it later will pay you off, and it will be such a big payoff because you need to know this now. Because I feel like you might be working around this person, kind of like, well, I don't want to upset them unnecessarily. But they're saying, well, you kind of got to test the waters now, because if you start learning about how they react now, later when the big things come in, you'll already be like, okay, I know how they react, and this is kind of why they react that way. I can get in there and, like, I can maybe circumvent this before it's a big problem and be like, hey, you know what? It was going to be that. It's going to be this. As soon as I figured it out, I wanted to let you know, life does these things. Curveballs happen. Sometimes you have to change the whole game. We were going to play baseball. Now we're going to play foosball. Huge difference. Huge. Test the situation. You got to test it if you really want this to go easier for you. Because what we got to do is we got to move this person from a mindset of feeling trapped to a mindset of kind of like, all right, the Libra's going to try to make this work out best for everybody. Sometimes I'm just not going to know what's going to happen next. Sometimes I'm not going to know the plan. But they got to learn to kind of trust you a little bit, kind of like, the Libra's not going to let us fail. The Libra's going to help us the best they can. They got to kind of earn that connection with you where they feel like, okay, the Libra is actually looking out for me a little bit, best they can. Not like you're going to hold their hand walking across the street, not like that. But like you do consider them, you do try to make things work out, you try to make the best decisions possible, and sometimes you've got to make quick decisions. They got to get used to that. They got to kind of get that connection with you where they realize you're literally doing the best you can. So if they can build that trust, they can build that rapport, down the road it pays off in spades is what I want to say, which for some reason that term is not, I don't know, it's just kind of, it pays off in spades, whatever that means. For some reason I'm not connecting with the meaning of that comment. There's victory and abundance here. They're saying take the hard road. I think that's what it's saying though. Victory and abundance and healing all come in, but you got to take the hard road to make it happen. Got to take the hard road. Because I feel like you don't want to unnecessarily upset this person, and I think that might be how you're looking at it. Like, I don't want to unnecessarily do that to them. It's not unnecessary. Take the hard road. Take the road where you kind of mess with them. Not messing with them, but you know what I mean. You kind of test the situation. It pays off so much better later. It really will. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. It's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.